Arizona is divided into 3 distinct geographic provinces: the Colorado Plateau, the Transition Zone, and the Basin and Range. The Transition Zone is the boundary between the Colorado Plateau to the northeast and the Basin and Range province to the southwest. The Mogollon Rim, just north of Payson, is the dividing line between the Transition Zone and the Colorado Plateau. Elevations range from 2,000 to 8,000 feet. The rock types found in the Transition Zone contain many of the same sedimentary layers found on the Colorado Plateau. However, many of the rocks in the Transition Zone have been stripped off of the underlying continental basement. The exposed rocks are the old metamorphic and granitic rocks that make up the crystalline basement, which can also be found in the deepest parts of the Grand Canyon. The Transition Zone is called as such because the landscape transitions from the high Colorado Plateau to the low Basin and Range area. This presents a unique, diverse, and quickly changing landscape. The terrain is generally very rough and characterized by extensive mountain ranges and valleys. Many of these valleys, such as the Verde Valley, were havens for the indigenous people of the Southwest, and as a result, today we can see many remnants of these majestic cultures. Montezuma's Castle is one of the most well-preserved dwellings of these ancient people in North America. In a more recent past, the Transition Zone was home to many mining colonies such as Jerome. Perhaps the most picturesque area of Arizona, Sedona's vibrant red rocks also reside within the Transition Zone. Sedona is the second most popular tourist destination in Arizona, appealing to hikers, spiritualists, and artists. Climate and weather patterns vary greatly due to the difference in elevation all over the Transition Zone. This province has the greatest amount of moisture and rainfall annually. Similar to the other provinces, the largest amount of precipitation arrives during the monsoon season of late summer and early fall. As the Transition Zone harbors vast forested areas, dry summers can bring tremendous fires that sweep through the region. The flora and fauna of the Transition Zone are somewhat a combination of those found on the Colorado Plateau and the Basin and Range province. The biota here varies greatly with elevation, making the Transition Zone a great example of an ecotone. From the sage grasslands, desert shrubbery, and mountainous forests, the Transition Zone has it all. As with the Colorado Plateau, prospecting and mining have been a large part of human industrialization of this Transition Zone. In fact, since the 19th century, most of Arizona's mining has taken place in the Transition Zone. Lead, silver, gold, and copper were the primary materials that made this place a jackpot for prospectors and miners alike. Jerome was one such mining town until the price of copper sunk in 1932 and was later mined out. Sandwiched between the two harsh environments of the Colorado Plateau and the deserts of the Basin and Range, the Transition Zone harbors some of the wonders of the Southwest, both culturally